Standard Bank CEO Sim Tshabala has been quoted saying the group has also benefited from higher than average interest rates across all regions, which is in support of strong expansion in its net interest margin. He joins us now. Thank you so much for your time, Sim. Analysts say not too bad of a showing. What do you say?
Tumisang, we think that these are excellent results, bespeaking a great franchise which is growing, where we're doing more with our customers. Our customers are happier with us. There's a larger number of customers, both in South Africa and Africa regions. And we're very grateful for their business with us. Thank you.
That said, though, what has emerged as your biggest concern in these numbers, given the current economic climate, which has been described as tough?
Tumisang, I think there are a number of things that one would be concerned about. The first one is that, headline earnings of 43 billion rand is a very high base. A growth of 25% in net interest income and 14% in fees and commissions and trading income all produce a very, very high base, which is obviously going to be difficult to replicate. I think the other thing to consider is that the geopolitical situation is a tough one. And on the African continent, we've got a number of elections that are coming up, 12 in total, 6 of which will be in countries where we operate. And if those situations create dislocations, it'll create difficulties for our businesses. One hopes that interest rates will decline, improve the ability of customers to pay, and increase business activity so that we can earn, more fees and do more trading revenue, do more activity that gives rise to trading revenue on the continent.
You do mention an environment where politics are at play with elections across the board, over 50 countries, including South Africa. What then is Standard Bank's strategy? Because it would have to be different from day-to-day business or every other year that you've operated over and above the global economic challenges that we have seen.
Well, I think what you do in these situations, Tumisang, is you do scenario analysis. You look at various scenarios that will pertain globally, as you say, more than 50% of the global population and more than 60% of global GDP will be going to elections. So you do your scenario planning and you decide what you will do on the basis of the various scenarios. What you hope for is the base scenario, which is sort of muddling along and things not getting out of hand, and then you position your business accordingly. Should the scenarios, either the bear scenario or the bull scenario eventuate, you position your business accordingly. That is all you can really do. In the case of South Africa, by way of example, regardless of the political outcomes, we think that growth of 1.2% this year, 1.7% in 2025, and then going into 1.8% and above in the period thereafter is a sort of a rational and a sound scenario, but it could go pear-shaped, isn't it?
Allow me to poke further there, because you have been one of the CEOs within the banking industry that's been quite vocal about the political landscape. In your view, having attended the likes of the World Economic Forum, the BRICS Summit, as well as the forums that would be held that speak to intra-Africa trade, but also global trade and getting to a conducive environment to do business, are you confident?
Absolutely. Our base scenario assumes, for example, that sub-Saharan Africa, which would include South Africa, will grow at above 4% between now and 2030. The African populations generally are going to get healthier, wealthier, with greater disposable income. Therefore, you're going to have greater banking penetration. That is fantastic for a retail business. The continent is going to be building more cities. We'll need more roads, more dams, more ports, infrastructure. That's what Standard Bank does. We calculate that the continent will need over $3 trillion in infrastructure, and we're well positioned to finance that. The Africa Continental Free Trade Area will accelerate that as the African continent integrates with itself. And so if those trends continue, you have to be excited about what is possible on the continent.
Does this then build a case for expansion? If you can maybe whisper in our little ears about what Standard Bank is thinking of in terms of growth.
Tumisang, we have been on this trajectory, and it's a very simple and boring strategy. We've been doing it for more than 30 years. We grow organically, we acquire more customers, we build more branches, more ATMs, hire more business bankers, lend to more customers, take more deposits, facilitate more payments, and that way we grow year after year after year. From time to time, acquisitions will present themselves. For an acquisition to make sense, it has to fit within our group, it has to be at acceptable risk and at the right price. Those are far and few between. They happen from time to time, but they're really, really few and far between. What you've got to imagine in the case of Standard Bank is, as I've said to you, just the boring way that Standard Bank goes about doing things. Just building day after day, one transaction at a time and one client at a time.
As a parting
so that's
shot,
all I can whisper.
Absolutely. I mean, you can only take it step by step. And as a parting shot for us who are ordinary banking clients, where does Standard Bank meet us halfway in terms of alleviating the pressure that consumers have all around in South Africa?
Oh, Tumisang, if you bank with Standard Bank, you would know that if you have got challenges with your home loan, we work out structures for you where we could either extend the term of your loan so that we improve your installments. Should you get into real severe difficulties, we may talk to you about maybe trading down. Should things really get very, very difficult, we avoid at all costs foreclosing. And if in need, we help you with a program called Easy Sell. And so if you're banking with Standard Bank, you will find that we stand with you during difficult times, just like we stand with you during good times. So you ought to be banking with us.
Thank you so much for your contribution there. That's Standard Bank CEO Sim Tshabala talking us through the latest results, looking quite positive, but the future is also quite optimistic.